David Walsh Bradley.
Good evening. According to the World Health Organization, during 2009, 7.6 million people, or 30% of global mortality, was caused due to cancer. Also in the United States, 560,000 people died due to cancer in 2009 alone. Clearly, this represents a very high total, and development of cancer-treated treatments is very ideal. Essentially, one of these avenues of treatments is protein-based treatments, and what they do is to essentially tell cells which are cancerous to commit programmed cell death or apoptosis. But in order to do that, a very good understanding of mechanisms of cell apoptosis are needed, particularly protein signaling pathways. So our research, in our research, we simulated a cellular attack by virus, and through laser fluoroscopy, tracked and quantified two particular transcription factors, NF-kappa B and ROB3, and to see them oscillating in between the cellular nucleus and cytoplasm, and basically sending the signals back and forth, hopefully contributing to the cellular death. In order for us to make sense of this information, we fed the cellular experimental data into a hybrid stochastic and deterministic statistical model, which provided us with very good results in kind of elucidating these pathways. It's hoped our studies, the nexus of our study is on statistical inference, biochemistry, oncology, and computational science. And it's hoped that in some small way we can help to create better cancer treatments and hopefully mitigate worldwide mortality and ameliorate morbidity due to this disease. Thank you.
Christine Peterson.
Today, we continue to treat cancer by killing cells using harsh radiation and toxins, which have serious side effects and are not always effective. There is an urgent need to replace these blunt tools with targeted treatments that reflect the underlying biology of the patient's disease. The key to developing these new therapies is identifying the protein-protein interactions in cancer cells which differ by subtype. These interactions form the connections in a complex network. New technologies allow us to simultaneously measure the levels of hundreds of proteins in the cell, but understanding from this data how these proteins interact under varying conditions is a tough statistical challenge. We are developing methods for inferring multiple networks using Bayesian graphical models. Our approach allows borrowing of strength across the sample groups and can take into account reference networks established by previous research. This improves the reliability of the estimated networks over current methods. Our results identify the protein-protein interactions which differ across the cancer subtypes, a key step in developing new drugs. Our methods will unlock the potential of complex biological data to ultimately improve the lives of cancer patients.
Duncan Wadsworth.
Science, and particularly medical science, is currently experiencing an abundance of overinflated claims and irreproducible results. It's becoming more and more commonplace for large and expensive studies to contradict one another. My claim is that science simply over-relies on p-values. I have two questions for you. One, how many of you think you can give the correct definition of a p-value? Unfortunately, you're probably wrong. Two, what would you do if your $1 billion study came back with an insignificant p-value of 0.0501. So close, but insignificant. Under the classical framework, you're required to reject. So, what should we do? I suggest taking a Bayesian approach. Bayesian statistics starts with a simple, logical framework which says what we know is a combination of what we suspect that we know and what we're learning from the experiment at hand. It has the results the results can be given in terms of simple probability statements that don't require arbitrary thresholds of significance and are often interpretable, or more often interpretable. I'm not claiming to offer a panacea. Clearly, any statistical method will fail if the assumptions are violated or if the experiment is poorly designed. But there is an advantage. So, next time you have some data to analyze, I hope you'll consider a Bayesian approach.
Yu Han.
For many years, the only way to extract oil is to drill straight down into the ground, which in many cases not technologically or economically feasible. Nowadays, new technology of directional drilling allow us to drill horizontally, which can recover oil from reservoirs used to be inaccessible with a much higher production rate. However, horizontal wells usually cost 7 times more money and 5 times longer time to drill, which presented the oil company a $1 million plus decision to make, where to drill. Or more specifically in our case, can we use historical data of vertical wells to predict the production of new horizontal wells? This is a rather underdeveloped research area, and the purpose of my work is to incorporate geology into statistics and help the companies with this decision-making process by building a statistical model which identifies its locations that are most likely to yield a high production rate based on the information of existing vertical wells. I believe this research is critical to the energy industry, and when the model is finished, it can save the companies large amount of money by helping them avoid drilling in places with possibly low production rate, and furthermore, help the consumers by lowering the gas price. Thank you.
Sharon Chen.
Most neurological diseases currently can be diagnosed only once lesions have already appeared in the brain and clinical symptoms have already started to show. But at this point, since the patient's brain has already started to degenerate, currently physicians are only able to slow down but never reverse or stop the devastating symptoms of diseases like Alzheimer's disease or multiple sclerosis. Diffusion tensor imaging, or DTI for short, is a relatively new imaging technique that we developed in the last 20 years. It is able to detect the changes in microscopic brain degeneration years before these clinical symptoms appear, so that physicians may someday be able to start treating earlier and focus on prevention. However, since the changes in microdegeneration are not visible to the naked human eye, whether we will be able to use DTI as such a tool depends on the accuracy of the statistical and computational methods that we use to figure out which structures are experiencing microdegeneration before symptoms appear. Our approach is unique in that we use a Bayesian variable selection method to integrate prior known knowledge on metabolic activity and brain structure into our algorithm. This has not yet been done in DTI data, but it has been done in other non-DTI genomics datasets to increase the accuracy of identifying which structures are associated with disease. We expect that increased accuracy in our algorithm may be used to successfully detect and treat neurodegenerative disorders before symptoms appear. This breakthrough will target disease before it starts. Thank you.
Jaime Ramos.
I'm trying to predict the future. I'm doing forecast aggregation. Now, most people, when they hear forecast, they think on weather. But who is going to be the next president? Is the price of gasoline exceed $4.50 next summer? Hope not. Is there going to be another breakout of H1N5? Those are social, political, and economical questions that can really affect our lives. In the case study that I'm working, we have more than 3,000 forecasters, giving their opinions in more than 100 questions. They estimate the probability of the outcome. Imagine the complexity of the problem. They can change this probability as they please. Some are really active, going on news, blogs, discussing with colleagues, and change these forecasts every day. Some of them update their forecast every week. Some others, well, may neither change their original forecast. And it's my task to aggregate this crowd's opinion, this cloud of probabilities, into a single value for each outcome, for each question, in a daily basis. The method that I'm developing, it aggregates. It's a strong aggregating versus outliers, but also clustering, expertise, forecast, with the ultimate goal or help policymakers, well, to do better policy for all of us. So give me your votes. I aggregate for you.